Hello, today we're going to be going through our statistics group project. Our research question was: is there a correlation between nursing students, school related stress, and mental health issues? And I'm Lily, and my classmates are Samantha, Casey, Olivia, Anna, and Marissa. So, first, we're going to start off with our table of contents. The first thing that we're going to go over is the topic and population of interest. So, we're kind of just explaining why we chose the topic we are going to be researching. Then we're going to go into our data collection and its process. Then our individual hypotheses and testing. So, what each of us tested, as well as the hypothesis we came up with and our findings. And then our group results, and we're going to end with a thank you slide. So to begin, we're going to go over our topic and population of interest. So we chose mental health and nursing students, and we chose this topic because as current nursing students, we are passionate about understanding and promoting mental health well-being in our field. Recognizing the unique challenges of nursing school, we were motivated to explore the various factors that influence mental health and how they might be addressed to support students like ourselves.
To investigate the correlation between school-related stress and mental health issues among nursing students, we created a Google form that targeted current students enrolled in Azusa Pacific University's traditional undergraduate nursing program. We used convenient sampling by asking a faculty member to send a mass email to the TUG program in order to generate responses. To increase participation, we did a snowball sampling where we started with a few participants that helped to recruit more participants from the TUG program to reach for more input, and this was done through group chats or word of mouth. One challenge that we faced was promoting honest and accurate responses due to our topic touching on sensitive mental health topics. To help solve this, we ensured that the form was anonymous, as the default setting of the form was set to not collect any email addresses and indicated to the responder at the beginning of the form. Another challenge we encountered was limited time of responders, as many nursing students have demanding schedules with classes, clinicals, and studying. As nursing students ourselves, we we understood this as we accommodated by creating a brief form with relatively short questions and answers, along with a mobile-friendly form accessible via link in order to ensure a smooth process for the student. Finally, as responses were coming in, we began to become worried, as we would not have adequate input from across all levels in the TUG program, as some cohorts may be more responsive than others. That could possibly skew the representativeness of the data. We tried our best to encourage the spread or sharing across all cohorts, and as asking participants to indicate their academic level and asking them to share with other TUG students.
Hi, my name is Samantha Clays, and the research question I chose was: is there a relationship between the semester that a nursing student is in and hours spent studying each week? Our group's aim was to see if there's a correlation between school related stress and mental health issues. I chose this question to examine how a student's studying evolves throughout the duration of the program depending on a specific semester. This could give us an indication of what semesters are most straining on students, any possible burnout, improved studying mechanisms, or a shift in priorities. My null hypothesis was that there is no relationship between the semester that a nursing student is in and how much time they spend studying. My alternative hypothesis was that there is a relationship between the semester that a nursing student is in and how much time they spend studying. The tests I chose to run were Spearman's row correlation and Kendall's tau correlation. Both of these tests are appropriate due to their ability to detect a monotonic relationship while not requiring normally distributed data. They also use ordinal or continuous data or variables. Spearman's row correlation was tested in order to assess the relationship between what semester a nursing student is in currently and the number of hours they dedicate towards studying each week. It indicated a significant negative correlation between semester and hours spent studying. Rho equals negative 0.34 and P equals 0.015. This indicates that as students get further into the program, the number of semesters increases, their average studying time tends to decrease. This relationship, while significant, is of moderate strength. Kendall's tau correlation was also tested and also indicated a significant negative correlation, where we got negative 0.28 and P equals 0.009. This reinforces the finding of students getting further into the program, but their average studying time tends to decrease. These results indicate a rejection of the null hypothesis. There is a significant relationship between what semester a nursing student is in and how many hours a week they dedicate towards studying. As students get further into the program, their hours spent studying decrease.
The research question I proposed directly aligns with my group's overall study of the relationship between school-related stress and mental health in nursing students. My research question is analyzing if there is a correlation between perceived support level and the frequency of academic stress in students. By exploring the correlation, we are able to have a better understanding of how external support systems influence students' perceived stress levels. And through this, if we were to find a strong correlation, we can provide strategies of coping in our high stress environment. To guide our study, I have established the following null and alternative hypotheses. The null being there is no significant relationship between the perceived level of support and the frequency of academic stress among students. And the alternative hypothesis states there is a positive and significant relationship between perceived support and the frequency of academic stress among students. With the results provided on the right side of the slide, we use the Spearman-Rowe correlation to analyze the strength and direction of the studied correlations, as I have also concluded that the data is ordinal, which is required of the Spearman test. However, a normal or bell-shaped distribution is not required in this test. A notable mention that this test is also a non-parametric, which means that it does not assume anything about the data, which is helpful in this situation. We also use the Kendall-Taw's correlation to supplement the Spearman-Rowe results as a source of validation. Since the probability is 0.963, which is greater than the significance level or alpha level of 0.05, we are to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, concluding that the two variables I am measuring are not statistically significant. With the Kendall-Taw's correlation being quite similar to the results of the previous test, we can also conclude that there is no strong evidence or relationship between the two variables to support the idea that more or less support perceived by the student are associated with frequencies in academic stress.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and my question is there a correlation between work performance and quality of sleep? This question is to better understand if sleep is a contributing factor to a nursing student's performance. It shows how sleep affects a student's overall mental health by how it reflects in their academic work. My hypotheses are there is no significant relationship between sleep quality and work performance, and there is a significant relationship between sleep quality and work performance. The tests that I used were Spearman-Rowe's correlation and Kendall-Taw's correlation. I chose Spearman-Rowe's correlation because one of my questions is a scale question while the other one is ordinal. For Spearman-Rowe, one variable should be ordinal, and since that one of them is asking for a scale from 0 to 10 and the other one is asking for frequency. My findings were that since I used Spearman-Rowe's correlation, these are my conclusions. Since the p-value is equal to 0.013 and is less than the significant value of 0.05, then there is a relationship between the two variables. Reviewing the chart, the correlation coefficient is negative 0.349, is a moderate negative correlation. The conclusion I drew was that the tests that I ran rejected the normal hypothesis, indicating that sleep quality increases, then the negative impact on mental health from school decreases. This helps to support my hypothesis that there is a significant relationship between sleep quality and work performance?
Hello, my name is Anna. The research question I asked was, is there a relationship between the time spent doing hobbies and activities and academic satisfaction? I chose this question because I was curious as to whether the amount of time students spend on hobbies or activities outside of school has any impact on how satisfied they feel with their academic experience. And I know this is a relevant topic for college students, and so I wanted to explore if there's a balance between personal time and academic success. My null hypothesis was there is no significant relationship between the amount of time spent doing hobbies and activities and academic satisfaction. My alternative hypothesis was that there is a significant relationship between the amount of time spent doing hobbies or activities and academic satisfaction. To test my hypothesis, I ran both Spearman's Rho correlation and Kendall's Tau correlation tests. I chose to use Spearman Rho's and Kendall's Tau's because they are non-parametric tests that work well with ordinal data and don't assume a normal distribution. Since my variables, time spent on hobbies and academic satisfaction, are ranked or subjective, these tests were ideal for identifying any potential monotonic relationships between them. From the Kendall's Tau, the correlation coefficient was 0.020 and the p-value was 0.859. This shows almost no correlation between the time spent on hobbies and academic satisfaction, and the p-value is much greater than 0.05, meaning the result is not statistically significant. From the Spear-Rose test, the correlation coefficient was 0.027 and the p-value was 0.850. Again, this shows a very weak, almost non-existent correlation, and the high p-values also means there's no statistical significance. The overall finding was that both tests support the same conclusion. There is no significant relationship between how much time students spend on hobbies or activities and how satisfied they are with their academic experience. This means we accept the null hypothesis, and based on this data, time spent on hobbies or our social life don't have a measurable impact on academic satisfaction.
The research question I posed was, is there a significant relationship between the amount of exercise participated in and the frequency of stress in nursing students? Our project's aim was to see if there is any correlation between school-related stress and mental health issues in nursing students, specifically those enrolled in APU's TUG nursing program. If there is a correlation, our group aimed to find solutions to reduce stress, and I chose the specific question to test whether a student's level of stress was impacted by the amount of exercise they were able to participate in per week. This can give us insight into possible solutions or ways that nursing students can manage or reduce their school-related stress. My null hypothesis is that there is no significant relationship between these two variables. My alternative hypothesis was that there is a significant relationship. And to test these hypotheses, I ran both Spearman's Rho correlation and Kendall's Tau correlation tests. These tests are able to detect monotonic relationships and don't require normally distributed data, and my variables and data fit these parametric assumptions. Spearman's Rho correlation was tested in order to assess the relationship, if any, between the amount of stress felt and the amount of exercise participated in per week. In regards to the results from Spearman's Rho, there is no significant relationship because the correlation coefficient is 0.88. So R equals 0.88 and P is greater than 0.001. So this is considered a weak and non-significant relationship. The results from Kendall's Tau correlation indicated a very weak positive relationship between the amount of stress felt and the amount of exercise participated in per week, as the correlation coefficient is very close to 0. T equals 0.077 and P equals 0.447, so this means that it is not statistically significant, and we cannot conclude that there is a significant relationship between these two variables. To sum, both the results from the Spearman's Rho and Kendall's Tau indicate to accept the null hypothesis and that there is no significant correlation between the amount of stress felt in nursing students and the amount of exercise participated in.
So, for my hypothesis testing, I chose to investigate whether there is a relationship between gender and the amount of sleep nursing students get each night and how that might affect their mental health. My hypotheses were the null hypothesis, stating that there is no significant difference in sleep duration between gender groups, and the alternative hypothesis suggesting there is a significant difference. To analyze this, I used a one-way ANOVA, which is appropriate because we were comparing the average sleep duration, which is a continuous variable, across different gender groups, which is a categorical variable. Before running the ANOVA, I checked for homogeneity variances, which confirms that the variability in sleep hours is similar between groups, an important assumption for the test to be valid. Our results showed no significant difference in the amount of sleep based on gender, meaning that I failed to reject the null hypothesis. This suggests that gender does not appear to be a major factor in how much sleep nursing students get, pointing to the likelihood that other variables may have a stronger impact on their sleep and overall mental health.
Our group wanted to see if there was any relationship between school-related stress among nursing students and the influence on various mental health issues. So we compiled a list of questions to measure the quality of stress, sleep, social life, academic satisfaction, and a couple of other variables. When we compared our findings, we concluded that the demands of nursing school can cause an impact on a student's overall health, including their social, physical, and mental. But when we compared our variables, a majority of them did not have any correlation to each other. The two sets of variables that did correlate together was quality of sleep and work performance, and that can be compiled and concluded that nursing students need to get more quality sleep in order to have a better work performance. It was found in our data that nursing students who find it harder to wake up in the morning also feel like their mental health is negatively impacted by nursing school. This can be applied clinically to patients, and the importance of educating patients on the sleep quality will bring positive changes to their ability to work. The primary strength of our study was the completeness and validity of our data. All 50 sets were usable, complete, and no missing responses. However, significant limitations was gender imbalances, which is noted that nursing is a predominantly female field, which led to a higher number of female responses, and that may impact the generability of our findings. Also, the participants are majority from 4th or 6th semesters and no representation from the 9th semester. So there is not much perspective of those in advanced clinical or academic experiences. If we did want a follow-up study, we would try to recreate a more balanced sample in gender and academic standing to ensure equal representation and allow for more consistent variability among the groups and more robust conclusions. So, as a group, we do agree that our test results offer meaningful insights, but limitations suggest that further research is warranted, and we would focus on diverse and representative samples to reflect the better entire nursing student population of APU.